Hi guys, it's Misty. Welcome back to another card video on my YouTube channel. I have a pretty simple card to share with you this week. I'm going to do an easy background with just ink blending, and at the end of this video I'm going to show you how I made another sky blended background that's a little bit more involved, and it makes it a little bit more realistic looking. So I love the way this one turned out, and this was the easiest and the quickest card I made. So I'm going to show you this whole card, and then I'll show you just the sky portion at the end of this video if you want to make it a little bit more technical and a little bit more involved. But both of them are pretty easy. The sky was the most time consuming portion of it, and then the rest of it just goes together very quickly. I made this for the Simon Says Stamp Wednesday challenge. The theme is travel or vacation, and we're featuring products by Fawn. I love Distress Oxide inks. I love the blend that you get. See, I left this portion here just to show you how beautiful you can blend these colors together. And keep in mind, this is still wet, so when it dries, it's just a beautiful blend. They just blend together so seamlessly, and I just love it. So the Distress Oxide ink with the Bristol Smooth cardstock and these blending brushes equal a really beautiful blend. So I'm just going to keep working at it. I'm going to go back and forth between the colors and just blend them together. And I'm using these makeup brushes. You can see I have two different styles there. One of them has a different handle. And these are just makeup brushes, but Simon Says Stamp sells the life-changing brushes that are actually made for ink blending. So that's my sky, and I was actually going to do a colored frame here with the palm trees. You see all my cardstock on the right. I have some tan, I have green. I was going to paper piece the palm trees in the sand and have this beautiful sky as the background, but when I cut it out of the black, it just really stood out to me, and I loved the way it looked. So I got rid of that idea, and I'm just going to go with the silhouette version I have here on screen. So now I'm just picking what color I wanted my ocean to be. I wanted two different colors. The palm tree dye is from Fawn, and it's the tropical backdrop dye. And then the ocean, I'm using the Stitched Simple Wavy Borders dye. And then the Happy Summer border dye you'll see here in a second. So I thought these two colors went really well together, the two different teals and the two different teals with the sky. I don't know, these colors were made for each other. I could not believe how well these colors look together, at least in my opinion. I just thought they were perfect together. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out 2 layers of my waves here. Look at that. I just think it looks so cool. And because I loved the teal down at the bottom, first I was trying to figure out where to put the Happy Summer because I didn't want it, I don't know, I just didn't want it to be at the bottom and take away from that. So I decided to put it up at the top. And because I love that teal color so much, and I had already cut out the waves and I still had some scraps of it, I decided to use that for my Happy Summer sentiment. So I'm going to cut that out 3 or 4 times. I can't remember. I think I did it 3 times. And then I will layer those all together. Just taking my craft pick and poking out all the pieces that don't need to be there. Love this color with that orange. I was pleasantly surprised with the color combo at the top there. That candied apple I thought would be a brighter red, but the candied apple mixed with the spiced marmalade made this really pretty, like almost blood orange color that you see there at the top. I was very pleasantly surprised with that blend. So I'm using the Elmer's Craft Bond to glue all these sentiments together. I'm not really loving my glue pen lately. It seems like a couple weeks ago I made a card and I used a really thin frame and I glued 3 or 4 of them together, and I pretty much had to go back through. They pulled apart and I had to re-glue it with my glue syringe. So my glue pen is on timeout right now. But the spray adhesive is perfect for sentiments like this. I think it's, you know, they stick perfectly, they stay together, and I don't have to worry about glue seeping out anywhere. And I don't have to worry about them coming apart. So I'm on the hunt for a good glue pen that'll stay glued. If anybody knows of one. I thought about trying the Fawn glue pen. I haven't tried that one yet. Does anybody else have that issue with glue pens, with it not sticking very well? I don't know if I'm just not using enough. I don't think it's that, though. I don't know. I'm searching. So if anyone knows of a good glue pen that actually stays glued, please let me know. I love the concept of a glue pen. Just needs to do what it's supposed to do. All right, I'm using these glue strips from Darice to add some dimension to my frame here. I wanted to pop up the palm trees. I wish they had them in black. I don't know if they make them in black, but all I had was white, so that's what I used. And then I'm going to cut down my Happy Summer border here to fit in that space between the two palm trees. But I used the foam strips, and then I used some foam squares too. And I had black foam squares, but I thought it would look kind of funky having white strips and then black squares. I figured it was just better to have everything cohesive. Yeah, I used quite a bit there, but I didn't want my palm trees being flimsy. And I'm just making sure that you can't see any of that white foam from the front. I mean, you can see it if you turn it to the side and you're looking for it, but you know, most people that you make a card for shouldn't be looking for stuff like that. So if I had black foam strips, I would have used that, but I didn't. Now that I have my ocean glued down, that's the first thing to stick down since that's going to be in the back. I'm going to go ahead and put my frame on, and I'm nervous about this because that's a whole lot of foam tape, and it's not like with liquid adhesive where you have any wiggle room, because you don't with foam squares. You know, there's some tape runners that if you don't get it on right the first time, you have a little bit of time to remove it before it, you know, really adheres good, but not with foam squares. Those, once you stick them together, they're stuck together. So I was a little nervous about getting them placed properly. But as you saw, I had a little bit of a border at the top, so I just took my big scissors and I trimmed it off so that it would fit perfectly behind the black frame. And I'm just using liquid adhesive. I think at this point it might have been 4:30 in the morning and I didn't feel like getting my glue box back out, so I just used my syringe to glue this one. We were going on vacation, and I wanted to get this done so that I would have something to work on while I was on vacation editing this video. So I was desperately trying to get this card made before we left. I know my husband thinks I'm crazy, but I went and got in bed at 6 o'clock in the morning while he was getting up to go to work. But I had my card made, and that's what I was going for. Hopefully my mom won't see this. She always yells at me when I stay up all night. But I could be staying up for worse reasons. At least I'm not out partying all night, you know? All right, now just to add a little something extra, I decided to go over it with my glitter pen. And you can't really see it in the video, but it looks really pretty in the light. And then I'm just going to add that to a black card base. I believe this is one of the pre-scored card bases that came in one of the Simon Says stamp card kits, and I wish they sold card bases like this in black, because it was a nice thick card base. I really liked it. I really liked using these. I know they have them in white, but I don't think they sell them in black. But if they did, I would totally buy them. All right, and that was my card. So now I'm going to show you the other background that I created. This was kind of a happy accident. I was looking at pictures of sunsets, and it just, I don't know, it looked like, the colors kind of bled together horizontally. So that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to bring the colors together in the center, but leave the center a little bit lighter since that's where the sun would be. But in the end, you can't even tell that's what I was doing because I almost ruined this. I almost had to toss it. But so far here at this point, it was still going okay. I was happy with the way it was looking. I was bringing in, some of the colors that you would think would be in a sunset. And I was leaving the center light like I had planned, and even added some blue and some wilted violet, which I loved until I got to this point. And this is when, I basically ruined this. I have never really paid attention to the color wheel, but I will now, because orange and purple do not blend together, and when you try to mix purple and orange or purple and yellow, you get a brown, and that's what was starting to happen. So at this point, I thought it was a lost cause. I figured I would just try my best to salvage it. So I'm just trying to go over it with the yellows and the oranges to try to eliminate that brownish color that I created in the center there. I had nothing to lose at this point, so I just went for it. Which ended up working out. So I'm going to add some orange, and then I'm going to add some yellow again at the bottom. But I loved the concept of creating a sky this way, with bringing the colors from the sides into the center. To me, this looked more like a realistic sky, like a realistic sunset. You would see the different colors, how they kind of go horizontal, and then they kind of fade off in certain areas. It's not like the first card I made where it's just, 3 layers of color across the entire sky. I hope that makes sense. So I love the vibrancy of the first card, but I loved the realisticness of this sky here. Realisticness, that's a word, isn't it? It is now. And this is definitely a technique I would like to work on and just pay more attention to what colors are next to each other. And now I'm bringing in some Squeezed Lemonade Distress Oxide because it's a little bit brighter, and I felt like it needed a little bit of brightness down there. And I could have done without the ocean and had this pretty yellow at the bottom. I think this would have been really pretty too. So I'm kind of bummed that got covered up, but I still felt like it needed a little bit of brightness down there. And I had these scraps still left over from my first card, so I just decided to use those for the waves on this card. So I was pretty happy. Going from basically ready to toss this background, since I had nothing to lose, I actually was able to salvage it and made a card out of it. And I really like the way the sky looks, minus the brown patch in the center. But if it weren't for that, I don't know. I really like how realistic it looks. This would be really pretty with pinks and purples too, I bet. I kept this card very simple. They're both pretty simple, but I didn't put any dimension on this one, and I didn't put a sentiment either. I figured I can add that later, which I'm really glad I did, because I was able to give this card to one of my dads for Father's Day. And I really wish I had the Happy Father's Day border that's just like the Happy Summer, but it says Happy Father's Day. That would have been perfect. And that is it. That wraps up my card for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the 2 different backgrounds that I created here. All of the supplies that I used are listed and linked in the description below, and they'll also be over on my blog. Be sure to head over there if you want to join us this week for the Simon Says Stamp Wednesday challenge. I'll have links to the challenge over there. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. And be sure to click the little bell icon so that you'll be notified when I do post a new video, which is every Wednesday. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next week. Bye!